Okay, so we have 7 viewerships right now. It's very great. We haven't yet started, but then so let's wait for a few couple of minutes more. I think things will get resolved. Okay, so people, we already have our guest almost here. So it's been a little technical difficulty, but then I really appreciate all of your presence. So we will be starting it soon. Hello.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Just give me a few minutes. Just
Sure,
one second.
sure.
Yes, am I audible and visible? Please do let me know.
Yes, it's perfect.
Perfect, perfect. We are good to go now.
We are so happy to have you, sir, in this session. Before we
Thank you so
begin,
much, sir,
how,
for giving me
how,
this platform. Thank you so much.
thank you. So, how exactly you are feeling today? Because this is our first live session. So we are
Yes.
continuously doing it, and this is the fourth live session with you. And it's a very interesting topic today we have picked. So, first of all, I just wanted to know a little bit about yourself and how excited you are for today's session.
So I'm super excited for this session, and the feeling is unreal, absolutely unreal. Because see, if we go online, I mean, if we go live on the Facebook, a lot of audience gets connected all together. So we are not reaching to one people, rather we are reaching to a lot of people in one go.
Exactly.
So that's the beauty of this live sessions. And I would request everyone to please
Mhm.
come to this live session, and you're going to learn a lot of things. Trust me, you are going to learn a lot of stuff. In the live classes, we talk about technical terms, but in this class, you will be learning, I mean, something which is going to be very different from your core, I mean, curricular parts. So it's going to be an amazing session. And just a brief introduction I'm going to give about myself. My name is Satyam, and I have been taking chemistry classes in tuition for almost 6 months now. And and the students who are there in tuition, they already know how I teach in tuition and what are my methodology so far as the teaching is concerned. And so far as the experience is concerned, so I have more than 4 years of experience in chemistry, particularly in chemistry, but I also teach other subjects. So this
Mhm.
is my expertise, particularly in chemistry. And today's session is purely based on the myth that we are going to break in chemistry. A lot of myths are there because in chemistry, we already know that there are a lot of exceptions. So today
Right.
we will be talking about one of the myth, and we are going to bust out that myth. And it's going to be a very interesting session altogether.
Absolutely. See, I remember when I chose this topic. So when I was in grade 11th and 12th, there was two experiments that we needed to do when we had to go in our chemistry lab. So one is the titration test. The one was the
Yes.
salt analysis test, and I was so much
Yes.
confused on the salt analysis part because there were so many of them, and it's really difficult to remember which exactly it is, what's reaction is. So in terms of chemical things, since we are covering today's topic on that, a little bit on the academics part, sir, your views on that salt analysis test, which the mostly the CBSE and ICSE students go through. How would we exactly, come out of that? Because it was really challenging and difficult whosoever gets that particular experiment to do on their lab exams.
Yes, so if I talk about the SALT analysis test, it's very simple, but when you are in grade 9th or 10th, it seems to be
Mhm.
difficult. Why? Because the concept is not clear. Students are not, familiar with the concepts, and
Right.
so far as the practical. When the students, hear about this experiment sort of terms, they get confused.
Mhm.
They get frightened by this experiment. The moment you are going to go to the lab, your mind gets you all of a sudden you get the name chemicals, that in the lab we are going to play with the chemicals. So the
Right.
moment you hear the name chemicals, you get confused. But we are not going to get confused, because chemicals, every part of our lives, we come across chemicals. If you take water, if you drink water, it is also a chemicals. So you are surrounded with chemicals, and this is the thing that you have to accept, that without chemicals,
Mhm.
you cannot imagine your life. So you are completely filled with chemicals. More or less, you're completely filled with chemicals. Whatever you use, you are surrounded with chemicals. And if anyone is saying that, yes, I'm not going to use chemicals, that is a myth. Whatever you use, you wear clothes, that is also made up of chemicals. Chemicals is
Right.
there in your clothes also. If you use soap, that also consists of chemicals. So chemical free life you cannot imagine. This is 100% true. And you already know there is nothing absolute on this planet. So everything is having somewhat, more or less, there is some bit of chemicals, some amount of chemicals present in
Mhm.
every stuffs that you use in your day-to-day life. Now, coming to this part, how you're going to determine, how you're going to do the SALT analysis and all. See, if you know the basic, because I'm not going to go into the technical terms in this discussion, because if I go
Mhm.
into the technical terms, it is going to take a lot of time. It is going to take more than 2 hours if I discuss about the technical aspect of this. But
Correct.
I'm going to give you a simple example by which you are going to do this. Have
Mhm.
you heard about this neutralization reaction? You might have studied about this reaction in your basic classes.
I
In
do.
class 9th or 10th, you must have encountered this reaction, right?
I do.
So
Yes.
neutralization reaction is what? Simply we take a base, we take an acid. Acid everyone is familiar with, because you know the basic, the basic fundamental definition of acids and the basic and
Mhm.
fundamental definition of bases. Now, how do we get salts? For example, if you want to prepare any salts, or if you want to do the analysis of any salt, what do you need to take? You need to take acid, right? And then the second thing that you need to take is base, right? Now,
Correct.
when you mix acid and base, what do we get? You'll get confused that if I'm mixing acid with base, what is the substance, what is the product that I'm going to guess, I'm going to get. So this experiment, you'll say that this experiment cannot be carried by writing in the notebook that we have acid, write one acid plus one
Mhm.
base, and the teacher will tell you you'll get salt and water. But you will get confused without doing experiments. How will you will come to know that whether it is salt or something else? So
Exactly.
this is the reason as to why we go to the lab. We go to do the experiment in the lab. Without experiment, we cannot do justice to chemistry. Chemistry is all about experiment. So go to the lab. What you're going to do? You're going to take acid. Let's take an example of hydrochloric acid, HCl,
Mhm.
and that acid
Okay.
is also present in your stomach. You might be knowing about
Mhm.
that. And this is
Yes.
the acid which is responsible for doing the process of digestion. It plays a very important role so far as the digestion is concerned. So take HCl, go to the lab, ask your teacher. Because if you go to the chemistry lab, you should be very careful, because
Mhm.
chemicals are very hazardous. See, all chemicals are not hazardous, but there are certain chemicals which are going to be very hazardous for you. So you need to take extra care whenever the moment you enter into the chemistry lab or whatever lab you're entering. Be careful with the chemicals, because
Right.
chemicals are hazardous also. So go to the lab, ask your teacher. So what is this? Where is this hydrochloric acid? Although it is written on the packet or the glass in which it is kept, it is clearly written that it is HCl. So if somebody might not be knowing about the formula of HCl, he or she might
Mhm.
get confused that HCl is what. HCl stands for whether it is hydrochloric acid, or it is going to be some other acids. So ask your teacher. Whenever you go to the lab, ask your teacher, sir, can you please give me this HCl? I want to do this experiment. So under the supervision of your teacher, always try to carry out these experiments, because again I say chemicals are very hazardous. Now
Right.
take HCl. HCl is what? It's acid. You have taken acid, right? Now, our main purpose, I mean, the second aim is what? To take a base, right? So ask your teacher to give a base. Let's suppose you have taken another base. Let's suppose it is sodium hydroxide, right?
Mhm.
So sodium hydroxide is a base. Now, what you're going to do? You are going to mix both acid and base, right? So the moment you will be mixing acid and base, you will get a salt, and it's going to be neutral, right?
Right.
Now, if I come across the technical aspect of salt, so it can be neutral also, it can be acidic also, it can be basic also. Again, I'm not
Mhm.
going to go into the topic of this acid, base, and salt. Just I'm going to give you a brief analysis of how you're going to determine whether which kind of salt it is, or what is the name of the salt that we are going to get it, right? So mix HCl, hydrochloric acid, in sodium hydroxide. You are going to get a salt whose name is going to be what? It's going to be sodium chloride. You will get it. And these are the things that you are going to find out after doing experiment. And also you will see that you'll be getting water also, right? So
Right.
this salt that you're getting, NaCl, that is going to be neutral in nature. We have taken acid, we have taken base, but the salt that you're getting, that's going to be neutral, right? So like this, see, I'm not going in detail about this salt analysis. Just I have
Mhm.
given you one simple example by which
Exactly.
you can understand the basic idea around this. So again, if I
Right.
go into it, it's going to take a lot of time. So I think you got a basic idea that how you're going to do
Right.
the salt analysis and all. So in
Right.
detail, you will be getting this idea when you go in class 11. So in 11th, I'll be guiding you in detail. I'll giving you the detailed explanation of this topic, but not today because it's going to take a lot of time and we have limited time for the discussion. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Like I really when it comes to the formulation. So I had to recall it once more, and now yes, it's clear to me as well. All right.
Yes.
So before starting the live, I was just asking to the viewers out here, because we already know today's topic is all about whether chemicals is everywhere, everything is chemical or not, whether it is harmful or
Yes.
not. And I was discussing about that incident which we all know about, Maggie, a very
Yes.
popular brand and instant noodles that we eat. And like couple of years before, we got to see like it has lead concentrations on it. It
Perfect.
was banned out there. So
Yes.
but then again it it was restocked, things went normal, it went to a different campaign or a strategy of marketing out there, and we just forgot that incident, right? But then
Yeah.
even after that, we all know that how much hazardous things it also has within that, like the noodles which we are exactly consuming. So your
Exactly.
thoughts on it, on this packaged items, what we are exactly consuming, like are we directly consuming
Perfect.
the chemicals?
Yes. So far as the things which are packed. So whatever the things that you're consuming, which are packed, I mean, packed in the packets. So
Mhm.
definitely, if you are going to ask me, that is not going to be good for your health. Why it is not going to be good for your health? The first thing is that it is packed. So nitrogen gas, if you talk about I'm coming into the chemistry aspect of this. So if you talk about the
Mhm.
packed item, so which gas is preserving that item? You might be having a question that if it is packed for 6 months, let's suppose the expiry
Mhm.
date is of 6 months. So how can
Okay.
something be packed for 6 months? So they might be using
Right.
something in the packets, and that would be acting as a what? That would be acting as preservative for that, and that is going to expand the lifespan of that particular packaged food, right? So basically nitrogen is added into the packet, right? Why?
Mhm.
To maintain its what? To maintain its durability, right? Now when the nitrogen is added, so you tell me whether it is going to be good for you or it is not going to be good for you. Since see, why do we
Right.
eat packaged food? The reason is that we do not have alternatives, right? So if you talk about Maggie, you cannot prepare Maggie at home. Although you can prepare, but most of the people, they're not going to prepare Maggie at home. So that is why they go out to the market and they buy this Maggie, right? But the thing is that only precautions that you need to be very careful with is the precautions that you need to take is try to consume less doses of these packaged food.
Mhm.
So you have to focus on the dose. So chemicals are going to be there. Again, I'm repeating this term. You are surrounded with chemicals. But what precaution you need to take care is you need to limit your dose. If you limit the
Right.
dose of the chemicals or the foodstuffs that you are taking, you are very safe because you cannot be chemical free. Your life cannot be chemical free. It
Mm-hmm.
must be having chemicals. Everything that you consume, whatever you wear, that is also containing chemicals. So the best thing, the best strategy that you need to have is you need to focus on the use, you need to focus on the dose, that how much dose you're consuming and in which amount. This is what is the prevention that you need to take care. Because you might have studied in the childhood that prevention is better than cure. So you
Absolutely.
need to be having the preventive measure, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if you take this preventive measure, you would be in a very good state. So this is what we can do from our side. Yeah.
Perfect. And this actually is so much interesting that we already have 7 viewers watching this. If people are actually
Yes.
interpret whether I should consume Maggie from now onwards or not. But
A
then,
simple small
in
request from all the
conclusion,
users, please share it so that everyone is going
definitely,
to be, whatever the friend circle you're having, they are going to come live. So please share this, session as much as you can. This is the small request I can do from here. Please do it. Yeah,
definitely.
please.
Sure. So here is now we are going to enter the topic because I have a set of questions. Our
Sure.
viewers have given us this and they are very much excited to know from your answer. So we
Yeah.
will be differentiating it into three categories. First, we have a set of questions, mythbuster questions. Second, they gave us some riddles they really are fond of. And the third we will be doing
Perfect.
is some rapid fire with you. And that's how we will sum up
Sure.
this episode. All right.
Sure.
So here's the
Sure.
first question to you. So one of our parents said that they often say that we don't want chemicals at home. But
Okay.
isn't the soap or shampoo and even toothpaste already full of chemicals? And these are certain things which we are not exactly consuming, as in, like, we are not eating them up, they are not of that cause, but they are helping out in some or some other way. But then, isn't it affecting anyhow? So, your views on it?
Yes, perfectly. So initially I told you in the beginning, all the viewers that you cannot say like this, you are chemical free. This
Mm-hmm.
statement is itself it's a myth. So if any company claim that the product that they are giving is chemical free, that is market strategy. So you are not going to be into that market strategy. So you
Correct.
have to make it very clear that if even the company is saying that it is chemical free, they are lying to you. They are just selling their products. There
Mm-hmm.
might be, the chemical amount might be small. It might be in less amount, but it is going to be there. Chemicals are going to be there. Now, so far as the toothpaste or the detergents or the soap that you use, because these are the things that you need to use in your day-to-day life. You cannot say like this, I'm not going to use soaps, I'm not going to use detergents, I'm not going to use shampoos and all. You have to use this, but you have to limit the use of all these things. Now I take one simple example of toothpaste, right? So toothpaste is the basic need of each and every people who are residing in this beautiful planet, right? Because they need to maintain the oral hygiene. So if you want to maintain the oral hygiene, you need to use this toothpaste,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you go back, let's go back, hundred or thousand years back. So at that time, people were not aware of this toothpaste. They were using the natural sort of things. Natural sort of things means they must they have been using the, you might have heard about that guava branch. So they were
Right.
using
Yes.
that.
I
In
have
Hindi,
even
we call
seen
it
that.
as, yeah. Even today also, whenever the
Mm-hmm.
festival comes, we tend
Mm-hmm.
to use that only because that is considered to be a pure, because that is not having any sort of other materials. So we consider that to be the purest thing. So we use that in the festivals even today also. There is no doubt about that. But if I come across this toothpaste nowadays, if even small child, even a
Mm-hmm.
child whose age is, let's suppose, 3 years, even that child also uses this toothpaste, right? Now using toothpaste is not bad, right? Because the company claims that they whatever the toothpaste they are making by taking I mean, the fluoride concentration in a limited amount. The fluoride concentration is not going to be in a much amount that is going to cause problem for human being. Now, if I talk about small child, so small child do not have sense. So if they swallow the
Mhm.
toothpaste which they are using, so then that becomes problem. If you are not swallowing
Right.
that toothpaste, then that is not a problem for anybody else if they are not swallowing it. But the moment small child, because small kid do not have the idea about what are the harmful substances that are there in that toothpaste and all, they are not aware of that. So the moment
Mhm.
the small child swallow that toothpaste, then the problem arises, and the problem that arises is dental fluorosis. So this is a major problem that happens with the kid who has no sense about this. Even, I mean, this happens particularly with the small children, right? So we
Right.
have to be very careful so far as the small kid is concerned. So parents have to be very careful. Whenever they tend to use these things with the small kid, they need to
Mhm.
be careful that the child or the kid is not selling that the toothpaste which is having fluorides. So
Exactly.
this is a concern for the kid, the small kid, because toothpaste contain fluorides. This, I mean, the most of the students who are there in class ninth and 10th, they might agree with this that
Mhm.
even all the toothpaste are having this fluoride content in it. And if they try to use excessive toothpaste, so the problem that they are going to face is dental fluorosis. So this is the major problem that a person may suffer. Right now, coming to the
Right.
soaps and detergent, you're using soaps and detergent to clean your body, or let's say clean your hair, right, to remove the extra oil that is there in your hair. So you try to use the shampoo and all, right? Now you
Mhm.
use the shampoo, right? Now the water in which the shampoo or the detergent gets mixed up, right, where that water goes, have you thought about this? That the detergent and the I mean the whatever the shampoos that you're using, you have used it, right, to
Mhm.
clean your body or to clean your hair. But where does this water which is containing that stuff goes? That goes into the ground, right? And you already know, if it goes to the agricultural ground, then that becomes a concern for the farmers, because that increases the salinity of the soil. And if the salinity of the soil, salinity means the salt content, if the salt content of the soil is increased, then that
Right.
becomes a major problem for the farmers, because that salinity will not support, that, I mean, that is not going to support the crops. That is going to what? That is going to degrade the quality of the soap. So quality of the crop. So that is why whenever you're using it, try to use in minimal amount. Do not use it excessively, because excess of anything is
Understood.
harmful. So you need to be very judicious so far as the use of these detergent or the toothpaste is concerned. See, we do not have alternatives for it, and if you do not have
Mhm.
alternatives for it, you need to use it, but you need to restrict your use. You need to limit your use, and that is what is going to be the prevention. That you need to limit the use. Try to limit the use. Everything will be all right. Yeah. I hope I am able to give you answer.
Yes, because like I used to know that yes, the shampoos or the soaps that we are using, the leftover the water is just going out in the dump, right? But then
Yeah.
uh, like just going in, like it's just flowing out there in the agricultural fields. Yes, it's a bit
Yeah.
of concern. So
There are
that
also other
is.
aspect of, I mean, a repercussion of all these things. But when we
Mhm.
go, I mean, when I go into that repercussion, it is going to take a lot of time. See, if you use the detergent, it is also having chemicals, so that is also going to affect your skin also, right? If you
Right.
use it excessively. So nowadays, skin cancer is in the news. You might have heard about one of the greatest cricketer of Australia, that is Michael Clark. He is currently
Mhm.
suffering from skin cancer. So that might be one of the cause of this using a lot of detergent. So yes, that is also one of the major concern of not using this detergent and soaps to a larger extent. You have to limit your use. That's only the cure that you need to take from your side. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So here's the second question. This is like one of my favorites because I was really connected to it. So it's all about the herbal cosmetics or the herbal, the companies out there who are actually in the nutraceutical, firm or the nutraceutical products that they are selling. So from there, one question that we got is that herbal cosmetics claim to be chemical free, but again, like we already know, it says that if in the bottles it has like preservatives and stabilizers, can that really be chemical free? And we already have discussed in it, like it cannot
Yeah.
be. but then but then the concentration levels, which again we discussed just right now, is one of the major factors out there. So,
Yes.
what is your opinion on this huge giants, especially when it comes to the nutraceutical ones? Because you see, the herbal ones, they are claiming that we are, at least way better than those companies who are selling stuff that has a load of chemicals. So, is it that it's also a false marketing or a strategy of just telling people that no, we are better than them? Or is it exactly the same when it comes to having those chemicals in their products, especially for the herbal the ones who are selling those products?
Perfect. Now, if I tell you herbal, if I the moment you heard about this word herbal cosmetics, so
Mm-hmm.
your mind goes to the term that is herbs. And the moment your
Yeah.
mind goes to this term herbs, you associate that it is natural. And if it is natural, it is not going to damage your body. If you consume this, if you use this herbal cosmetics, it is not going to have any effect on your body because you heard it herbs. And herbs, you studied in the basic classes that herbs are what? These are tiny plants. And
Mm-hmm.
the moment you heard about these tiny plants, your mind is all set, your mind is all prepared that if it is natural, it is not going to damage. It is not going to have that repercussion as compared to the synthetic ones, right? But
Right.
let me tell you one thing, that if the company is claiming, if the herbal cosmetics, whatever the herbal cosmetics come, if the company who are making this, if they are claiming that you're not going to get any side effects of it, it is
Mhm.
totally wrong. You are going to get side effect of all these herbal cosmetics. I'm going to give you one basic example. You tell me green tea is what? If I give you the example of green tea, you'll say, yes, green tea is very good for health. I mean, many of the persons, many of the doctors suggest that take
Mhm.
green tea. It's
Right.
very good than the normal tea. Yes, it's good if you compare with the normal tea. I would also favor that if you consume green tea, that's way better than the normal tea that you are consuming. But again, it depends upon how you use it, how much amount you consume. If you consume green tea in a large amount, so it is going to damage your liver. You can research on this, that if you consume green tea in large amount, in a much amount, it is going to affect your liver is going to be affected. So again, I'm going to say the same thing. Limit your doses. If you take the herbal cosmetics, limit your doses. If you limit your doses, so everything will be all right. So it's the doses that is going to
Mhm.
decide whether the side effects, you are going to be surrounded with the side effects or you're not going to be surrounded with the side effects. So limit your doses. Take herbal cosmetics, that's fine, but limit your doses. The doses should be in a, whatever the physician or whatever the doctors are going to suggest, the amount, the doses, you need to take that much doses only. But if you exceed the doses, it is going to have the repercussion on your body. So again, the key word here is doses. You have to limit your doses. Everything will be all right if you limit your doses. Yeah.
Understood. See, what I have personally learned is that when I was a little bit associated with this herbal companies or the groups, so if I had to talk about the things that we are consuming out there, there are certain stuff they are selling like as the health supplements, right?
Yeah.
So there we have seen that even few of the doctors say that please consume this health supplement because it's very beneficial. In today's time, you are not getting enough nutrition or the ample nutrition you are
Perfect.
getting from the normal food you eat in your day-to-day life, right? So to fill out that gap, you can take this supplement, and these
Perfect.
companies are claiming that we are 100% again herbal. We are like we don't use any chemicals. But then at the bottle of at the backside of the bottle, we can see there are certain preservatives that are written. So we cannot say 100% we are like completely herbal. We are giving out such products to people. So do you think the ones who are claiming that, who are claiming the supplements, is it good for us or not?
See, if the company are claiming that is purely the market strategy, they just want to sell their product, right? So you have to be very careful in that because every company will come and they will try to figure out that yes, this is the product that is best as compared to the other product. So in this case, you need to be careful because you see the packets because we generally do not see the packets. Everything is written on the packets. But we ignore that thing. If you see it very carefully, you will see that chemicals have been used in that. You will if you go to the composition, if you see the composition, you will find out that I mean little or some I mean some amount of chemicals are there in that as well. So right now, sir has said that in order to fill the gap, because nowadays whatever the food items we consume, so everything is filled with pesticides. We use pesticides. If you want to grow any crops, we are going to use fertilizers. We are going to use pesticides. So if you're using these supplements, these are also supplements, right? In order to boost up the crop production, right? That is why we are using fertilizers. And if you're using fertilizers and pesticides to a large extent, so that if you consume that food which is having fertilizers and pesticides, that is again you're going to have effect on your health. So in order to compensate, for example, we are not getting enough vitamins. Let's suppose you are consuming, I mean, fruits, but you're not getting enough vitamins. So in order to fulfill that gap of vitamins, you are taking supplements, right? Let's suppose you are taking herbal supplements for bridging that gap, right? But the repercussion is going to be there because these are not natural things. So although herbs are written on that, herbal products are there, herbs are associated with that, but that is not completely natural. 100% natural, it is not going to be there. Initially, I said you nothing is absolute in this world. You cannot imagine anything to be 100% true or 100% false. So nothing is absolute. Some amount of chemicals or some amount of mixing is going to be done in every product. Although the company is not going to claim that they have mixed something, but you need to be very aware that nothing is absolute. You will get chemicals. But again, I'd say you have to limit your use. Even the doctors say that it is beneficial for you. You take it, but you need to be taking it with the prescribed doses that the doctor is suggesting. Otherwise, it is going to harm you. That's only, I mean, the final conclusion that I'm going to make over here is limit your dose. That's the solution for everything. So far as the chemicals are concerned. Yeah. Yeah. Am I audible?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, you are. So, uh, like I wanted to share one of this, like in my grade 12. So I was going in the chemistry lab because our central attraction right now, or the answer right now, is all about doses. So I
Yeah.
remember that we were working with the acidic stuff, and there was concentrated H2SO4 out there. So we were doing some experiments, and I was like, the bottle was just a little bit below my nose, and I just
Okay.
inhaled the gas, right? But then thankfully it didn't affected anyhow. But then matching up that topic, why I said this is because we are currently talking about what we can eat is what chemicals it has, or say soaps or shampoos that we have spoken about right now we are using, it had chemicals right now. But then when it coming to the airborne or the aerial, so like something we are inhaling, right?
Yeah.
So the concentrated acid is really hazardous, right? We cannot just inhale like that. It would create a
Perfect.
problem.
Yeah.
So my point of question was related to the paints that we use in our home. So it used to, like, give certain smell once we just make a new coating in the house. So do you
Yeah.
think it would be really harmful to stay in that room after freshly painted?
Yes. Perfect. So this is a very beautiful question because these are the things that every audience is going to relate with that, because every audience, I mean, this type of activity happens in every houses. Painting happens in every houses, right? So this is very important question. Now, if I talk about the paints, I'm talking about the normal paints. I'm not going to go into the water paints or the oil paints. I'm not going to go into it. Just I'm talking about the normal paints. So if I
Right.
ask you what does that paint contains, so that might be having some organic compound into it. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you that if I talk about the compound that paint is having, that is volatile. What volatile organic compounds? So the paints are having what type of compounds? It's volatile organic compounds. Now you might be thinking, what is this volatile compound? I mean, volatile organic compounds. You might not be aware of the technical terms because this is very technical so far as the chemistry is concerned. Now, if I talk about this, what is this volatile organic compound? So it is having some compounds. I mean, it is having some chemicals. And what are those chemicals? It is having toluene, it is having formaldehyde, and it is having benzene. Benzene class
Right.
11 might class 11 students might relate with the benzene. Benzene, you
Yes.
might have heard about this, right?
Yes.
So these are the chemicals, these are the compounds present in volatile organic compounds. And paints are what they are containing volatile organic compounds. Now, what are the effects that you are going to have when you are there in the room in which painting happens, right? Painting of the walls happen. So if you stay in that room for a long period of time, you will observe these certain changes in your body. First one is headache. You can do these experiments whenever the painting happens in your
Okay.
houses. You
Okay.
just sit out in the room for a couple
Mm-hmm.
of hours. Let's suppose you are staying in that room for 2 to 3 hours, and after staying for 2 to 3 hours you will observe that dizziness, laziness you will start feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Second one is headache, you
Right.
will start feeling. Nausea problem is very common if painting happens. And the most important thing that happens, the side effect, the most important side effect that you are going to have when you are there in the room in which painting happens is the cancer. So
Mm-hmm.
cancer, you can also suffer from this disease of cancer. So it is advisable that whenever the painting happens, first do not be in that room. Be out from that room for a couple of days, because it is not like this that if painting happens today, then the smell is going to be there for today only. It's not
Right.
like that. It can remain for a couple of days. So for few couple of days, do not be there in that room. Otherwise, you will be ready to face this repercussion, right? Now, second thing is that, so try to use best quality pens, because nowadays you are having this water pens, right? So try to use water pens. Do not try to use oil pens. Number one. Number second is try to use water pens. And if you use water pens, the repercussion, the effect is going to be minimal, almost minimal, right? Because in water pens, what we use water. Although chemicals are there, but
Mm-hmm.
the do I mean the concentration is going to be less. The concentration of the chemical is going to be way less as compared to other paints that we used to use. Let's suppose 10 to 10, 12 years back. At
Mm-hmm.
that particular time interval, there was no concept of this water pens, but now we have alternatives for it. So go with the alternatives, go with the water pens. And if you're going with the water pens, these repercussions, these side effects, you are not going to be surrounded with. I hope it is clear.
Perfect. And we never get to know all of this stuff, right? Because we go
Yeah,
check out these
because the
things.
thing is that, see, if you bring the water pen, you just study about it. Everything is written on the packets. If you study it, you'll get to know. Because nowadays we do not study whatever the things that are written on the packets. We just use it. We do not focus on the concentration. What are the substance by which it is made up of? We do not care about it. But if you are a vigilant citizen of this society, you need to be very careful. You need to be very
Right.
vigilant. You try to
Right.
figure out everything. If you buy anything from the market, read the packet, read it carefully. You only check the manufacturing date, you only check the expiry date. What about the concentration? What about the doses? What about the things that are there in the packets by which this particular substance
Right.
is made up of? Check all those things. If you check out all those things, then only you are going to be said as a vigilant and
Mm-hmm.
responsible citizen of this country. Otherwise, no possibility. Just consuming that is not a great deal. Check out everything and then consume. Then that is what is going to make you a perfect citizen. So be a vigilant citizen. Yeah.
Nice. That's amazing. Uh, Coming to like we will come to the about mobile phones, devices, electronic devices. What is the chemical composition like in terms of the batteries that are included in those devices? You see, because sometimes it does really creates, we have seen like battery explosions, or
Yeah,
it doesn't have enough juice to just get one more recharge, and then they
yeah,
say that please replace the battery because because the chemical reactions has just displaced it. So
perfect.
I really wanted to know all about what exactly happens inside the battery, even though I had studied, but then I really wanted to know in it, like in life, what exactly happens out there.
Sure. So if I come across this particular term battery, so the moment you hear this term battery, so you might
Mhm.
be relating this particular term with the series of cells. Because
Right.
you might have studied in class 6 or 7 that how
Yes.
this battery is made up of. You
Yes.
have cells. Now, the moment you combine these cells, then only you get the battery, right? Now you
Mhm.
already know that what type of chemical reaction that happens in the battery, because of which it is able to produce electric current, or let's say electricity. So there is a chemical reaction that happens, that is electrochemical reaction, right? So electrochemical energy gets converted into electrical energy, and therefore eventually we get this electricity from the battery, right? So one chemical reaction that is happening, that is what type of chemical reaction? It is electrochemical reaction that happens in the battery, because of
Yes.
which electrochemical energy gets generated, right? And that electrochemical energy gets converted into electric current, or let's say electricity, and therefore we get the electricity from the battery. Number one. Now coming to the battery, so it is consisting of one element. You might have heard about this, that is lead. Have you heard about this lead? You might have heard about this lead,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now let's take simple example of this cell phone, because cell phone, everyone is having this cell phone, right? Now, it is already written in the packets that if you charge this, let's suppose it is 100% charge. Even the company claims that if it is 90% charge, stop it, unplug the charger. But we are very careless. I would say everyone is careless so far as this is concerned. They try to do the full charge, 100%. Even then also, they do not plug out the charger, right?
Right.
So
Right.
this is because of this the battery burst out, right? And if the battery burst out, and you can, and the moment it is going to burst out, you can imagine the effect that it is going to cause. And these are the things which are happening in day-to-day life. You might have heard about the news. These are the regular newses that comes in the
Yes.
newspaper about the mobile gets burst out, right?
Yes.
Now second important thing is that, now let's suppose the battery is dead. Right now the battery is not going to work. It has been declared as dead, unfunctional, right? Now what you're going to do, you're going to throw the battery, right? Or you are going to sell that dead battery to that
Mm-hmm.
person who is going to buy that battery, right? And now that person is going to do what? That person is also going to sell to another person, and like this it will be stored as e-waste, that we call it as electronic waste, right? Now this electronic waste is very hazardous. Why it is hazardous? Because right now we do not have a proper way of decomposing this electronic waste, right? See,
Correct.
biodegradable waste, if it is vegetable peel, it can be decomposed easily. But if it is electronic waste, now tell me how you're going to decompose it. We do not have a proper structure of decomposing this electronic waste. Now, if I relate this particular thing with the current affairs, now right now Delhi, if we talk about the capital of India, that is New Delhi, capital of India. So capital of India is also facing to this. Capital of Delhi is facing to this problem of this management of e-waste. So Delhi has a lot of e-waste, right? Because you already know it's a small. If I talk about Delhi, the region is very small. The area is very small, and the density. Density means people residing per unit area. The density of Delhi is humongous. So people are
Mm.
using a lot of smartphones, a lot of electronic devices. So if that gets dead, so there, if that gets dead, so you need to decompose that also, right? If we are not going to do the proper decomposition
Yes.
of electronic waste, again that is going to create a problem, and that problem is going to, you already know what are the problems that you are going to suffer from the electronic waste. If you consume that electronic waste, if it get mixed with the water, and if you consume that water, then it is going to give you a lot of side effects. So the main important thing over here is whatever the electronic gadgets that you're using, so the government of India should also take initiative that how they are going to decompose this electronic waste. And if there is no proper mechanism to decompose this electronic waste, then the problem might be related to the health. It might be related to the health, or it might be related to the environmental problems. So
Mhm.
environmental problems are also going to occur, as well as the health problems are also going to occur. So Delhi is the state who is fighting. I would not say that it is state, it is basically union territory, that is UT. So Delhi is fighting with the air pollution also, and Delhi is also currently fighting with the management of e-waste also. So the government need to take initiative to find out the way how to decompose the electronic waste. Otherwise, the repercussion is going to be, it's going to be very hazardous. Yeah.
So then the conversion that we started, from that, like we used to forget about unplugging the charge.
Yeah.
So that's the main reason for which we have seen all of these newses that's are coming up.
Yeah. Perfect.
There are, but now then, to solve out that problem, so the companies are saying that we generally used to get in today's mobile phones a notification that once the charge is 100% complete, it says that the plug has automatically disconnected your, recharging through your phone, right? Even though the switch is on,
Yeah.
even though the main power is on, but it still says that it's not getting now any power because it's completely charged. So do you think it's a gimmick? Do you think that like it still gets some reaction out there in battery even if it just writes it down in the notification?
So if I tell about this, then yes, it's a gimmick. So if the company is claiming that although it is 100% charged, so nothing is
Mhm.
going to happen. If you plug in also, nothing is going to happen. But again, I'd say, why to take risk if the company is claiming? Because see, that is not going to be absolutely, I mean, it's not going to be absolutely true. So why
Right.
to take a risk? So without taking a risk, why don't you, I mean, why don't you bother to just plug out the charger? If you plug out, you are going to be 100% safe. Why to take risk? So it's all about the risk. Although the company is claiming they're using the technology, although they are using the technology to to bypass these all things, but still, don't take risk. Try to be in the safer line. So that's what I can say to the audience, that if the charging has been completed, so plug
Mhm.
out. So that is the smart move. And you have to be very smart. And I mean, when it comes to full charging of the mobile phones, so just plug out. It's going to be 100% safe. So play safe. That's what I can deliver a message to all the audience. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, then. So that's all about the mythbuster questions or the ones that we have got from our audience. And from here on, we will move on to the few riddles round. Actually, these are easiest
Sure.
ones. We will cover them up. So the first one says it's shiny and smooth, and I keep you connected from wares to gadgets. What element is it?
So it's going to be copper. So audience
Okay.
also can answer.
Yes, because this
This
is
is also for the
something.
audience. Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, when it comes to copper, it just came to my mind about bulbs, right? So bulbs has two filaments. One is copper
Yeah.
and few uses tungsten, if I'm not wrong.
Tungsten. Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
But then it's something about resistance, right? That it's like in copper, is it like the resistance is less or something like that? If I'm like just taking it correctly, but then mostly copper is like considered to be a better usage of conductor rather than tungsten. So what
Yeah.
exactly the difference is, and why exactly, like when it comes to these gadgets, we exactly are taking copper as a choice?
See, if I talk about this tungsten and copper, so one is conductivity is one of the reason. Another reason, the main reason is the melting point, right? So if I talk about this copper and tungsten, so so the melting point plays a very important role. So generally, if you talk about if you're using the bulbs, let's go back 2 or 3 years. Let's go back ten years back. So at
Mhm.
that point of time, you might have seen that the filaments of the bulbs are made up of tungsten. Why it was made up of tungsten? The sole reason was the melting point. The melting point of tungsten is going to be very less. So the moment much electricity is going to flow through it, it is going to cut out the supply, and
Right.
you are going to save the bulb. Only the filaments are going to be damaged. But now, since now we are using this copper, so it is what? It is just protecting the bulb, and therefore it is increasing the shell life of the bulb. So that is why we are preferring copper over tungsten nowadays. Only the sole reason is to increase the shelf life of bulb. And if I go into the technical aspect again, it is going to take a lot of time. I'll be talking about the conductivity and all. It's going to take a lot of time. Yeah.
Got it. So with that, the second one is again, it's very easy. So I make your clothes colorful, but too much of me in rivers harms fish. So who am I?
Yeah. Since it is, I mean, already the question is telling the answer. So it's if it is color, so it's going to be dye. Perfectly, it's going to be dye. The dye that you're using it in the clothes.
Hmm.
It's going to be detergent dye.
Okay, so then a few minutes back we were discussing about that detergents, shampoos
Yeah.
going to the drain, right? And it's harming the crops. So is it
Yeah.
exact it the chemical composition, is it exactly the same to that of dye?
Yes, exactly. I could not say that exactly it is going to be same, but yes, dye also contains chemicals, right? So
Mhm.
nowadays you might have seen in the food also we use colors, right? So
Yes.
in the recent news you might have heard about this, that these are the colors that you are using in the food, right? That is also one of the
Mhm.
reason of what that is also one of the reason of rising cases of cancer, right? So
Mm.
these dyes or the colors that we use that makes the food looks, I mean that makes the food looks very catchy. But at the same time, you are playing with the chemicals. If you're adding dye, if you're adding colors to the food to make it eye catching, so that's good. It is eye catching, but at the same time, it is also affecting your health. And a
Right.
lot many cases, doctors have found a lot many cases of cancer because of this, the colors that you add to your foodstuffs, the additives that you add to your foodstuffs. So yes,
Mm.
dye is very dangerous. So I would suggest all the audience, so do not add food colors. Why to add food colors? Food colors only makes your food looks eye catching. That's it. So you're not going to get any sort of test by adding food colors and all. That's only because you want your food to be eye catching. So that is why you're adding
Yeah.
this dye or colors. Do not add it because these are going to affect your health. So it's better not to add these colors and all. Yeah.
Perfect. So the next one is also one of the important ones. It says that I'm soft when warm and then it's hard when cool. And I keep your food fresh in containers. So guess me, who am I?
Yeah, it's going to be plastic. And plastic again, it's very dangerous. When
Hmm.
plastic for management of plastic also we do not have any proper mechanism till now. So because see the government are not providing us the alternative for the polythenes or the plastics. So that is why
Right.
we are going to use this plastics. Unless and until the government are not going to provide you alternatives, you cannot
Hmm.
leave that particular thing aside. So the moment government are going to come with the alternatives, you are definitely going to leave plastics. But till now, there is no alternative. There are alternatives, but there are not any solid alternative for plastic. If you talk about polythene, again, it is very handy. If you want to, if you want to do packaging of anything, so polythene is
Hmm.
very handy when it comes to polythene. So you cannot, if something is very handy for you, so you won't be leaving that particular thing. So that is why here the whole game is about the alternative. Unless and until the government are not coming with the alternatives, we are not going to leave that aside. So the government should also think about this, and the government are thinking also. They are going to bring the alternatives, but right now we do not have any solid alternative for it. So we are going with the plastics. And if you're going with the plastics nowadays, we are using biodegradable plastics. Now we
Hmm.
have biodegradable plastic. Again, if you buy biodegradable plastic, it is going to be very expensive. So the cost factor is also very important. So if you buy polythenes, you can get polythene very easily and it is less expensive, right? But if you go on for the biodegradable plastic, it is expensive. So it should be cost friendly also. If it is
Hmm.
environmentally friendly, it should be cost friendly also. Then only the customers are going to go with that. So this also the government needs to take care. Yeah,
I was really interested in knowing, like, I when I used to bring something, the common plastics are like the one which are a little bit translucent, the ones
yeah,
we know. The second one is something black in color, and then the third
yeah,
one are like a little bit more rigid, and they are not just like the plastic that we hold. It's a
yeah.
bit different. So, what is the chemical composition, like the difference in among this? Or if I have to give you the best example, it's just like this water bottles. So this one are the crushable ones, but there are also hard plastic bottles as well. So what is the difference in making them? Is it just the quantity, or exactly how exactly it works?
Yes. So quantity is not going to be a major factor on this, but the chemicals are going to be the major factor on this. So far as the plastic is concerned, so audience might have, I mean, students might have studied about I mean, mainly we have two types of plastics. One is
Mhm.
thermosetting plastics, and another one is that plastic which can be molded in a different manner. Whatever the manner in which you are going to mold it, you are going to mold it according to your necessity or according to your requirement, right?
Right.
Now here the chemicals that you're using that are going to define the size of the plastics, right?
Mhm.
So see, if you're using the plastics which is very, very thin, right? I mean, the
Mhm.
diameter is not that much. So for that plastic, you're using some different, I mean, you're adding some extra materials into that. That is going to make it more, I mean, the thickness is going to be less. And if the thickness is going to be more, you are adding some other materials. See, it depends upon the substance that you are, I mean, the substance that you are going to pack in the plastics. So if you're using the plastics which is of less diameter, so in that plastic you won't be able to pack a lot of items because that will bring into question the tensile strength of the plastic. So if the tensile strength of the plastic is going to be very high, so in that case you're going to pack that materials which are in high volume or that might be large quantity. So it is the material that decides the size of the plastic. So I cannot say that it is going to be I mean, the diameter. Diameter is one of the factor. You are
Mhm.
going to increase or decrease the diameter based on the materials that you're using for making that plastic. So purely it's going to be the chemicals or the materials that you are mixing and making according to the different size plastics you are making. So it's basically because of the chemicals or the materials that you're using.
Understood. One last thing, and then we will move on to the next round. Actually,
Sure.
it's not a question, but then I just wanted to say that. So we use those, perfume bottles, or like, the ones you call the room fresheners. So
Yeah.
both of them are exactly the same, right? So I was using one of those. It was almost going to end, and then what I was like, when I was holding that bottle, exactly like when I was holding the bottle, what I got to say is that inside it's becoming way too much, cooler, or like it was becoming cold. Like I
Okay.
used to feel that. So what exactly out there is going? Because is it something related to gases or chemicals? Because why did I felt that? Or is it like generally happens?
See, if I talk about the deos and all, so in that basically what gases are filled into it. So if you talk about perfume, so perfume in the perfume you have liquids, right? But if you talk about the deos, I'm talking about the deodorants. So that is having what? That is having purely gas. Gas is there in that particular bottle, right? Now there is a process which is happening that is diffusion, right? So the moment you spray the deo, the moment you open the bottle of the deo, so you
Mhm.
will start feeling cold. Why you start feeling cold? What is the reason? So you might have studied about the process that is evaporation causes cooling. This concept you might have studied, right? So the
Yes.
moment you put this deo on your hand, right? So the external water vapor that is present outside, right? That
Mhm.
comes in contact with the cold surface. The moment you spray that deo on your hands, the surface becomes cold, right? And you already know the water vapor present in the atmosphere, right? When the water vapor comes in contact with that deo which you have spread, I mean, at your palm or let's say anywhere, so that will give you a cold feeling, all because of the concept of evaporation causes cooling. Number one. Now coming to the second question. Second question was, what was the second question? I just forgot.
So like
Was this the question?
the bottle felt itself like it's becoming cool over the time. So as it felt like
Yes.
it's going to crush, like after a few times.
Yes. So second concept is about the diffusion, right? So right now,
Mhm.
sir has told that when it is about to finish, so it feels like yes, the bottle feels like it's very cold and it's feeling like that after some time it's going to crush up, right? So
Mhm.
this is the reason is solely because all the gases have been evolved. That has already come out of the bottle, right? Now the
Okay.
bottle is not having any sort of gas, right? Now, if you talk about the pressure, now the concept of pressure is going to come into the picture. Now, if you talk about the pressure, you already know gases exert pressure on the walls of the container. This you already know,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
whenever the gas was there in the bottle, the pressure was there at all the walls of that bottle, right? But now no more gas is there in that bottle, right? Now the
Mhm.
pressure level is going to be less. If the pressure level is going to be less, you will feel. I mean, it will be just a feeling that you will feel that now after some time it's going to get crushed up. So this is why this is happening because of gas pressure. Initially, the pressure was high when the gas was there in the bottle, and the gas was exerting pressure on all the walls of the container. But now there is no gas, so you will feel like that. Now the pressure is no more, so you'll feel like now it will be crushed up. So this
Understood.
might be the reason, I guess.
Yes, like because then I really wanted to know what exactly happening out there. So yes, I
Yeah,
got to know it. Okay, so that's all for the reader section, and now it's time for a little bit of rapid fire round with yourself.
sure.
All right. So the first
Yeah.
one is like, which one is scarier? Is it the chemicals in your deodorants or is it in the mosquito repellent?
So this is very interesting question. If I go with one option, it will be injustice because both are, I mean, hazardous. Both are going to be equally hazardous. It depends
Mhm.
upon what sort of things you use, you come across in your day-to-day life. You see, there might be some persons who might be using this mosquito liquids a lot of time, right? There might be some persons who would be surrounded with the deo all the time. So it depends upon the person, right? If you ask me, then I use Deo very less, very less. Whenever I go out, then only I spray this Deo because I know the consequences of this Deo. Because see, if you ask me, then whenever I spray Deo, I used to get a headache. So this is the side effect that I'm having whenever I use the Deo. So for me, this Deo is going to be very hazardous. It's going to be very scary for me. So for, I mean, next person or other person, that mosquito refill is going to be very dangerous. But for me, the scary part is going to be the DO. Yeah.
Got it. So next one is like, if chemical free existed, would even water disappear?
See, it's I mean, if you talk about chemical free, again, it's going to be myth. Because the water that you drink, that is also made up of chemicals. Water is
Right.
having H2. I mean, the formula of water is H2O. It is
It's
having
true.
hydrogen, two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. It is having chemicals. Then how you can imagine a world in which you are going to be chemical free? No, that's perfectly a myth. You cannot imagine a world without chemicals. Chemicals are going to be there. The water that you drink, that is also chemical. So chemical is everywhere. It is going to be there everywhere. You cannot imagine your life without chemicals. Never thought of this. Never imagined the life without chemicals.
Right. Right. The third question is up to you. Your thoughts on it. One chemical at your home that you secretly love.
So that's definitely, I love coffee a lot. But again, I would say, if you love coffee, the intake should be proper. It should you should have to limit your intake of coffee. But if you
Mm.
are someone who is taking coffee a lot of time, let's suppose you are consuming coffee, I mean, 5 times, 10 times a day, then that becomes a problem for you because that is having caffeine, right? So you need to be very, very careful because my morning starts with the coffee, and I used to intake coffee 3 times: morning, afternoon, and evening, right? So if you're taking it in a right amount, and if you are taking coffee, right amount should be there, and you need to restrict the use of coffee, limit the use of coffee. Thrice in a day is fine, it's fine. So again, it is going to contain chemicals, so you have to be very careful so far as the intake of coffee is concerned. Yeah.
All right. So we have to reduce it then. Yes.
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, next one is interesting. So, what's more powerful? Like, is it chemistry in medicines or chemistry in technology?
See, that's again a very interesting question. So both are supplement to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say like this, without technology, medicine, if you're making medicines, so you are using technology, right? So without technology, you are not going to make medicine for a huge chunk of people who are residing in this beautiful blue planet. So technology and medicine, pharmaceutical company and technology both go hand in hand. So you cannot subside any one thing. So
Right.
again, both are equally important. Yeah.
Okay. And then, if you could invent a harmless chemical, so what daily use would you be using it to solve first?
So this is again a complex question for me. So if I'm going to invent anything which is going to be chemical free, so it should be the toothpaste because our morning starts with the
Mm,
toothpaste. Because oral hygiene, we start our day by brushing our teeth. You go to the basin and start brushing your teeth. So I would come up with a product that is going to be, I mean, that is going to have very minimal, or let's say no
mhm.
chemicals. That is going to be toothpaste because that is the basic necessity for, necessary for everyone, even the small kid also.
Okay. So here's the last one.
Yeah.
One line to parents. It's up to you. You can just answer in a one liner. It's just that you don't fear chemicals, but then fear dash. It's just a fill in the
Yeah.
blank question.
Yeah. Don't fear chemicals, fear the doses. Because this I told you in the beginning that you have to restrict the doses. So do not fear about the
Mhm.
chemicals, fear about the doses, that in which amount, in what amount you are taking it. Limit your
Right.
amount, you'll be all right.
That's absolutely great. So we will be ending it here, sir. I'm really, there are tons of things we got to know today itself. So before closing it,
Absolutely.
I just wanted you to share something relevant or interesting to this topic to our students, which we can share, which we can use this clip, which we can, share it among our students. They get to know a lot of things, what it would be, something related to the topic, and something
All
even
right.
outside it as well.
Sure. See, if you talk about the chemistry, so chemistry is such a subject in which you do not have to mug up the things. Like today we discuss about the chemicals. So if I tell the students that we are going to, let's suppose if I design the chapter as chemical equation or something else, the student might get disturbed that yes, today we are going to deal with the chemicals. Today the teacher is going to teach us chemical reactions. So they won't be joining our session. But if I change the name, as we have to burst out the myths that are related to chemicals. So this becomes a very engaging topic for the students. Why? Because the
Right.
students started relating that there is something that we do not know, and that is what the teacher is going to make us understand in this particular session. So if we design the topic name in such a way that is going to be eye catching for the students, that is going to be engaging for the students are going to come, they are going to learn, and that is what has happened today. We have just changed the name of the topic, although we were
Exactly.
sticking to the chemistry only, but we just have changed the name of the topic, and the audience
Right.
felt it that yes, this session is going to be this session is going to be very engaging, it's going to be very fruitful for them, and they have also joined also, and they might have gained a lot of information from this session. So like
Absolutely.
this, do not fear so far as the chemistry is concerned. If you heard any terms, do not fear it, because we have lot many ways to make you clear the concept of chemistry. It's not about that we are going to read the concepts and tell you that yes, this happens and you will learn this. We have a different methodology, we altogether have a different teaching methodology by which we make the students understand by not just reading everything but making them engage in the process like we did it today. So whenever the complex topics comes, do not fear, come to the session and just sit for 2 or 3 minutes. You will fall in love with the topic like it happened today. So do not fear about the terms. Do not fear. Like we discussed today, do not fear about the chemicals, fear about the doses. So like
Right.
that only, do not fear about the topics. Just come into the class, just join the session. You will enjoy it. This is what I can say from here. Come. If you come to the session, then only you will know the importance of it. If you do not come and if you sit ideally without joining the session, you will not understand the importance of it. If you come and sit out for 1 hour, you are definitely going to earn a lot of things from this class. So this is the final message to all the students, that do not fear the topics. Come with us, join us, and we will do the game changing. We will teach you in a very different manner that you haven't felt the taste of it till now. We will give you that taste, and that's going to be very sweet, and you will enjoy it. That's it.
Perfect, sir. I'm so happy to hear that. So, literally, our audiences are happy, and I know that when we are following a different approach, is that's what going to bring out the clarity. That's what is
Yes.
going to, give us more interesting on the topic. And thank you for all of that, sir. Before just winding up, I never asked this, but then we really want one more live session with you. And
Sure, sir.
if you could just say in one liner what we can bring in with you, what could be the topic, or what really would be a suggestion from your side, can you just disclose it? And maybe we
Yeah,
can
sure.
do something interesting in it.
Sure, sure,
What
sure.
exactly it would be?
So today, whenever I teach students in the class, they fear about the
Mhm.
chemical reactions. So why
Mhm.
not to bring this chemical reaction into a discussion? So in the next discussion, what I'll be doing is I'll break the myth of this chemical reaction. I'll balance each and every reaction within seconds, and
Mhm.
students will learn that how they are going to balance, because balancing of chemical reactions, students feel it very difficult. So why not we bring a session? And I mean, many students are going to join, because if we are sharing anything, if you are having a session on social media, so students are going to come. They are
Right.
going to join. So this is the problem of not just one student, not just two students, but balancing of chemical reaction is a problem of thousands of students. Because whenever they study in the books, I mean, very typical manner of balancing reaction. I mean, the books are giving them very typical way of balancing the reaction. But I have a very unique style of balancing even every chemical reaction, whether it is typical one or it is easy one. I'm going
Mhm.
to balance every equation within 1 minute. Within 1 minute means within
Okay.
1 minute. So why not to give
Okay.
this knowledge to all the students who will be joining
Definitely.
us in the session? That's going to be very interesting. So the heading
Right.
is going to be like this: balancing a chemical equation within 1 minute. And the moment we write like this, students are going to come, because they take 7 to 8 minutes to balance just one reaction, simple reactions. So if I'm
Mhm.
giving the ways, the method to balance the chemical equation within 1 minute, definitely the students are going to join, because that is going to catch the students in the live session, and
Right.
students are going to learn a lot of things. So that might be one of the topics that I'm going to suggest from here, and students are going to enjoy that session. In
We
that
will,
session, I'll be using the boards also to
we
make
will
them
do that.
understand.
Yes, we will
Yeah,
do that. So I hope the audience is actually excited. And yes, sir,
yeah.
thank you for all of that. We will be coming live once again. Thank you for your presence. Thank you all who have joined the session. Thank you for sharing as well. And that's it from our end. We are signing off for today, and we will be meeting in the
Thank you
next
so much,
one.
sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
sir.
so much for
Bye.
bringing me live. And thank you so much, everyone who have joined and who are still watching. Thank you so much. And I want your presence in the next live session also. And that's going to be very interesting. It's going to be way more
Perfect.
interesting. And you will enjoy. Definitely that I can assure from this platform that you are going to enjoy the session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll meet up again. Surely you are going to meet in the next session. Definitely.
Sure, sure. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, everyone.